talk more about the biology, the living matter. So he's talking more about the structure of the soil. So I'm going to talk about more of the life that's going on in the soil. So I put this picture in just to kind of get your mind thinking of, when you see this picture, what are you thinking? A teaspoonful of dirt? Or do you think of it as a living, breathing ecosystem? Just how many living organisms do you think can be on just that little piece of dirt right there, that soil? Throw out a number.
Billions.
Billions. Billions. Okay. Kind of a big number. So yeah, there's up to 3 billion in 1 tablespoon of healthy soil. And to kind of just put a picture to this, that's the equivalent of our 3 most populous countries in the world. So that's a lot of living things going on just in that. So when you think about it, when you're farming, you're caring for all of these living organisms. And they support all life. So humans, plants, animals, they all support these things from just decomposition and the ability to not only cycle nutrients throughout the plant life, but also through our own animal and human lives. They give off life, such as earthworms as well, so they're competing pathogens as well as supporting the processes that go on to develop life itself. So, and this is just kind of a little chart that I stuck in there that shows you all the different organisms and functions they can be doing. Which is what I just kind of talked about a little bit. But that gives you more of the breakdown if you want to get a little more specific on it. This is just showing you how available microbes are. They're literally everywhere, even on your phone. They're on your hands, they're on your eyes, and including on your plants. They're not just living in the soil and the root zones that we like to talk about, but they're also living, outside on the stem and the leaves. Also, they're working inside. They're in the endosphere. And they're also in your seeds or your fruits, and also the air. So they're all interacting with each other on these various different microbiomes. And microbiome just means that it's a community of living things, right? So that's what constitutes a microbiome. And these microbial communities are very, very sensitive to their environment. They are constantly changing and reacting to their resources, so their food availability and their nutrients, and also their environmental conditions. Certain ones only work in certain temperatures and pH levels, their availability to oxygen and also moisture. Having water is a huge key for them to be able to do their work. And they are found in every type of land, so from your water to your soils, to your trees, and even us humans here. So they are everywhere. They're with you all the time. So what is soil biology? Biology is just creatures and living organisms living in the soil. And the microbiome is the ecosystem that holds this community together. And soil health refers to just the quality of the soil, right? So anything that's living has health. If it's not living, there's no health to it. So soil health refers to the quality of life and the life of the community in the soil, and is defined as the continued capacity of soil to function as a vital living organism or ecosystem to sustain plants, animals, and humans. So what I like to think about it, because microbes are kind of this weird kind of concept, I kind of like to use humans as an example. We're all living organisms. We're just larger. But if I were a microorganism, how would I like to live? How would I function in these different environments that I'm being put in? So different farming operations and such as that. So I refer to the different soil types as the hoarder. The clay soils are the hoarder communities. Sandy soils are the shack. And the loamy dream soils are the loamy soils. So, and I'm going to kind of describe why this is. So if you think about it, we're talking about these 3 billions in a teaspoon, right? So we're talking about all these communities. So this is what these are kind of looking like when you're more on the heavy clay side. It's looking more like the hoarder community. So you guys have a lot of stuff, just a lot of stuff. We don't know, it could be good, it could be bad, it could just be junk, but either way, you just got a lot of stuff. And it's really hard to move through. So if you think about it, if you're hungry or you're trying to do something, how long does it take you to just get into your house or to your workplace? It could take a very long time. And so things aren't moving very well, right? Things aren't functioning well when you have too much stuff. So we call this poor aggregation. And there's just little airways and waterways to move water in and out. As you can see, all that stuff will get probably pretty drenched and soggy and heavier to move just because it's just all that stuff has. So it has a lot of water holding capacity, but little ways to actually dry it out and move along. Also, you may have a lot of nutrients, but if you think about it, if I were a microbe trying to get dinner, how long would it take me to get to the fridge if there was stuff in there in the first place? It would take a while. It would take a lot of energy, a lot of also nutrients just to get there, right? And so we need to really unpack this stuff. We need living organisms to really sort through all of it, right? So when I think of like our SP1, it's kind of a like those house projects where they bring in a bunch, like 50 people come in and renovate a house. It's kind of what it's doing. You're adding those microbes, those living organisms to really unpack and clear it out. You're cycling through what to break down, what to reuse, and really organizing in a way to make it functioning. So, and you can't simply do this by just adding organic matter. You can over time, yes, organic matter has some microbial activity, but it's just not as populated as if you were to get it from a biological source, right? It's more dense. But you can obtain this over time, like they say, with organic matter. And here we have the sandy soil. So if you have a sandy soil, just like imagine walking through billions of homes that are more of a shack-like structure and workplaces that more of a shack-like structure, right? There's just very little ability to, just probably not much going on, very little going on out there. There's not much structural support, so you are losing your nutrients. So I think of like, if you're trying to store food in this shack here, like a soil raccoon would come in and just steal it away. Like it's very easy for it to leave, not only from other pathogens or, just even the rain could just wash it out. There's just little support, so that's how we can lose our nutrients in these sandy soils is because we don't have the structures, we don't have the living organisms that are creating the space and the structures to actually hold those things. So yes, again, with the poor aggregation. And it has like no protections against pathogens, pests, and disease, so it's very easy for them to get in there. And again, they have a hard time holding water. So in those times of drought or extensive heat, they have little ability to access water because it's already filtered through so quickly. So when this happens, it slows the cellular metabolism down. They either go dormant or some even die because they need that access to water. All right. And here I say the loamy soils, right? They're dark, they're rich, they're full of life. They're very high functioning. So these places, this is, if I were me, I would want to live here, right? So this is where a lot of microbes go. They go to these types of places. They go to, and this is where they're working, right? They have optimal places to function. They have optimal food, water, and nutrients, right? So this helps them stay active and really want to go and work and help you make your best harvest ever. They have the organic matter, so these are the building, this is what I call the building materials for microbes to use to build more functioning structures and build your plants, right? Build your crops. And they can actually have the ability now to store nutrients and also water. So when you do have those dry spells, you're not as heavily impacted. So you can wear those better. And then, yes, they maintain the balance of all these systems working efficiently. So, and I mean, you need to have, once you have these soils, you have to keep taking care of them because as our farming applications do impact that, as well as, you know, rain, water, and weather, you know, those things break our structures down all the time. So you need to have those microbes there to keep recreating and reorganizing and keeping these structures forming well and moving well. All right, so that kind of gives you a picture of if I were a microbe, how would I live? So if there's anything that I want you to get is just we're taking care of these ecosystems, and we're not just expecting our inputs to be just thrown on the ground of our NP and K and sulfur and expect it to do its job. We're actually cultivating these communities to work for us, and if we want them to continue to do that very well, we have to think how would they want to live and treat them as such. So I'm going to go back to that microbiome picture at the beginning, and we're going to start at the roots, right, from the bottom up, with the soil microbes interacting with the microbes that are on the rhizosphere. So these are the ones, microbes that are on the roots of the plants. They are influenced by the root secretions of the plant microbes, but also in the soil. And this is how they're exchanging nutrients. And they, like I said, working with each other in the different biomes. And we call them either soil microexudiants, so they exude. What that means is they're exuding like carbs and sugars, amino acids, organic acids, polysaccharides, enzymes, all those things that it takes to digest and absorb the different nutrients. So they're getting to all the cells in the roots and in the plant cells and into your harvest, right? That ultimate up there, that ability to produce that fruit or ear of corn. So the benefits of these rhizosphere microbes are that they make the nitrogen and phosphorus, even trace minerals like your iron and your zinc, growth-stimulating phytohormones as well. Getting a little here with my science terms, but increasing the nodulation and the nitrogen content of your plants. And they also, while they're not only building and creating this plant, they're also reducing the negative effects of pathogens. So not only, so they're playing defense as well, so it can keep doing its job. So they also are producing antibiotics and enzymes that interfere with these pathogens. And when there's more of these good ones, they're competing the pathogens for resources. So that's why you don't really see them anymore. It's not like we're trying to kill them or anything. They're part of the natural life cycle to let you know when things are off balance. But here they are, when they're doing well, they're competing, and you're not seeing those problems as if when things aren't working well. Okay? And then from the roots, we go inside the plant, right? So the endosphere, these are called endophytes. These are your microbes that reside there. They are there throughout the plant life cycle, and they facilitate the growth of the plant, so the elongation and widening, the mass of the plant. So they facilitate the growth of plants in nutrient-poor conditions. So they will only fix nitrogen within the plant if they don't have it already available to them. So this is part of their job. So these are just some of the various different microbes that have been known in research to help increase your mass and your height of your plants. And they are a result of these guys. And they are found across many, many different types of diverse phyla. So it's not just one microbe that's going to do this job. It's a collection of various diversity that is necessary to work together to make this happen. So the benefits of these guys are nitrogen fixing, which I talked a little bit about, and again, synthesizing phytohormone production, just like our rhizosphere. They regulate the internal hormone levels of this plant or of your plants, and they can actually take nutrients from your other microbes and the other plant processes, and they maintain the balance and tolerance of other living organisms and on physical stresses. So, and just again, what that means is just as they're maintaining the flow of the microbes and doing their job, they also recognize other microbes as well. So the ability to tolerate and not react is a positive thing. You don't want them to react to everything. That you want them to be able to recognize all the different microbes and keep doing their job and working together well. And again, yes, they are responsible for the biomass and the elongation of your plants. And here is for the phyllosphere. So this is your leaves, so stuff that's going on with your chloroplasts. The leaves, the stems, branches, fruits, and flowers, everything above the soil. And these are just as diverse, bacteria being the most numerous. And again, bacteria and microbes of all varieties, they rapidly change to their environment. And that's even their sunlight, their limits to their nutrients, moisture, and their temperature. So they'll slow down if it gets too cold or if it gets too hot, depending on what kind of microbes you're dealing with. So you want to have a diversity that can work in all these different temperatures and conditions. So again, yes, you'll kind of hear they kind of do the same things, but throughout the plants. They compete and suppress pathogens. So on your leaves, you know how you can get those airborne spores coming in, right? They're interacting with the microbes on your leaves right there. So, and then they can also consume nutrients. So if you talk about later, like foliar sprays, you can spray on. It's like the skin, you know, it can absorb these nutrients exuded by plants before the pathogens can colonize and spread. And also, if it's putting out nutrients, they can actually slowly release the nutrients back to the plant. So there's quite a bit there. So nutrient cycling, this is the process where, you know, your fall crop of corn has stalks left in the field, but this is where nutrient cycling begins to happen. So the crop residue represents, this is the energy or the carbons that need to be broken down. And in order to break this down, you need to have soil microbes to actually process this. So this is literally energy trapped until it's broken down by your microbes to be put back into your soil. So it creates this reservoir so your next year's crop plants can actually access those nutrients for that life cycle. So the mineralization that's happening is the conversion of the nutrients from the inaccessible forms of the minerals to usable forms. And we call this immobilization the process of nutrients being tied up in the cells of microbes. So yes, this would be considered immobile, in this picture, immobile minerals right there that need to be broken down. And you can see a little bit, I think, of fungus going on right there, the white. So microbes are the driving force of why this happens. It just doesn't degrade on its own. It's not magic. There's a very much purpose to this. This is life happening. So they break down much of the organic matter that's going on in the soil and make nutrients stored in this organic matter available to plants. And these conversions are the foundation for our residue decomposition, nutrient cycling, and soil aggregation and good till. So not only are they breaking down these nutrients to go to the plant next year, but they're also creating your soil structure, right? So it's easier for you to get out there and plant again. And they continue to do this. So soil structure and till, as was already mentioned, can be very variable and is affected by your soil type, your tillage practices, even your crop rotations, your residue management, your fertility, your nutrients, as well as your microbial activity and diversity. So all of these things need to be kept in balance. We don't want to do any one thing more than the other. We want to, everything for the right time, right? And when we do this, this will improve our soil tilth and our crop yields. So you might be thinking, how do I build this biology, these microbes, this life going on in my soil? Well, you want to adapt to cultural practices that actually support their living, their environment, right? So we want to feed them, and what they eat either sugars, carbons, or fertilizers, right? Sugars, you want to keep a little on the lighter side. It's more of a supplement once in a while, because that can also feed your pathogens as well as your good microbes. So you want to be balanced with that. Cover crops are great. They give them help them give the structure and also the microbial diversity as well, and extra food to eat. So cash crops as well as your residue management. So those are all the things that feed our microbes, right? And these are also more things that can help with your microbial community. So plant-animal compounds, so those are like your alfalfa, your blood and bone meal, things of that nature, and your compost and compost teas, which is this right here. Those also have some microbial populations, but you're not really sure how much or what kind they are, so it can be variable with them. And then your microbial products and blends, which is SP1, which is what I'm going to go into a little more here. So this microbial blend, SP1, is liquid. Lots of people think it's water, but it's really not. It's in this sample set. This is one that I just plated, in October, end of October. This is just a recent sample set, just showing you that there are over 14 different aerobics, so these ones live by breathing air, just on this snapshot of a media. So this is just to get an idea of what's going on in that particular product. And these here, so those are the aerobes, then the anaerobes, these are the ones that grow without air, and then our fungi as well. I don't think the laser works. But anyway, so as you can see, there's all these different varieties of microbes that are going on in this product alone. So a diverse species means you have a diverse workforce. That's why they can get the job done so much quicker. They're all working together. They're living together, right? Oh, well.
No, do you want one?
I'll be all right. Thank you so much. So this is just quickly is just what does it help with is it builds the soil and crop health structures. So, and here's a longer laundry list, which is in your slide there if you want to refer to later. But yes, over the years as we have tested this product, we have found and have research on that it can help decompose your crop residue as well as, increase your earthworm populations, improve your soil tilth, which we've heard a lot, speed up your germination time. It also increases your drought tolerance. It sequesters and degrades your toxins that you may have in your soils, creates better quality food and feed, and reduces harmful effects of plant pathogens. So, and increasing your water holding capacity and filtering as well. So lots of good stuff with this. And here's just an example of the control group of, I'm guessing, corn plant stalk root system here. This is in the control, so nothing, just water. Very clumpy, as you can see. The roots are very big. They're trying really hard to get through. And then here we have SP1 at 1 gallon. You can see it gets more silty. There's more roots structures that are available to form for that plant. And as you get more into it, even more, you see more root structures as well, the more you apply on. So just a huge change just in that alone, just from even 1 gallon. So just takes a little bit for a lot to happen. Again, showing the root structures, but also the corn ear differences you can see are much bigger on just 1 gallon and even 3 gallon. And the root structures, again, have more of the fine hair look, and the silty, even the color is different. It's very dark, meaning it's very alive looking compared to the control. And comparing pepper plants, we're moving on from the root. You can see even in the stem, the elongation process is even bigger. The fruit formation is even bigger, and more leaf foliage, and more even, I see more buds up there as well. So just more opportunity for growth compared to the control. And you can also see, these are also peppers, but from this top down look, you can see it has more foliage, so more of a canopy structure going, color density as well, and more flower formation happening as well when we are using biology in our system. Residues is our other product. This is a dry product. It is a dry blend of microbial organisms that decompose plant residue into nutrient forms that can be taken up to nourish the cell of the plant. So this can be great for your residue management program if you need one. And what are the benefits? So improved health, you've got a better seed bed, breakdown of the phytotoxic compounds, can hold nutrients for the next crop, and you have a faster start for your next crop, allowing the opportunity to capture maximum yield. So in this picture, you can see the white stringy, looks like silly string. Those are actually your fungi at work. You actually see a little earthworm popping in here too, because he likes hanging out with those guys. And then you have, in this picture with the red line to the left, you can see in between the crop the leftover residue for this planting cycle compared to how much it's broken down with the fall residue application. So it's virtually gone and it's being used for that crop cycle, versus this is still leftover nutrients for that year. So big difference just in a matter of months. And this is just a sample of, in Bureau County, which is where we're at in Illinois. So this is just to show you that how quickly microbes start working. Fall treatment after 30 days. We see this untreated side still very fresh looking actually, versus the treated side where it's getting broken down. You can actually see again the white, it's not snow, that's actually microbial activity. And you can actually start seeing your ground again, the soil again.
Ariel, residues does not work in the northern part of the country until spring.
Okay.
Yeah, so a number of you guys here use the residues, but it's very effective. My goal is by July 4th that the corn stalks are broken down. It isn't going to break it down real quick because they got a lot more sunlight, a lot more heat.
Right.
But it just plain flat out works.
Right. Right. Yeah. Not to say it can be done in 30 days, but the process is well underway. Like it starts. And this was just a research study that was done over 6 years to show that when you're doing this, when you're applying this year after year, you see a return of what, at least 11.5 bushel an acre difference. So, and this is the corn yield analysis. So this is, you know, over time, 10 bushel difference, pretty good. And our other product is Myco Seed Treat. We call that MST. This is a dry blend of 15 different species, bacteria, and fungi that contains a nutrient package to support the soil microbiology during establishment. So that's, people put this on the seed. So this is just to establish a healthy, what I call, microbiome of the plant. So this increases your microbial activity. So this picture you can see after 3 weeks of planting, the not treated has very long, thick, almost looks like string noodles of roots going on there. So limiting that ability to catch nutrients versus the treated has a little more varied. They're not going in one direction. They're all over. You even see some fine-haired ones in there. So they're maximizing their ability to actually cycle nutrients and obtain nutrients for the plant. And it also enhances the root growth and the shoot growth, so up to, which we'll see here. So this is alfalfa, so this shows that the treated, along with the good developed root growth, you can see even more foliage. It's even deeper green in color, meaning the nutrients are getting to the chloroplasts, and just even the stems are thicker, and it's just a larger plant in general. So just very different. And also this one, the effects of the treatment in bushels per acre, you can see that there is about another 10 bushel per acre difference in both locations by treating with the Myco treat versus being untreated. So quickly, just recap the benefits. You get your nitrogen fixation, you're converting your organic matter into plant available forms, and these are slowly being released to, these nutrients are being slowly released as your microbes die and keep performing their life cycle. And this gives you the ability to use less conventional fertilizer because of this holding capacity, and it provides a higher rate of degradation and overall helps build your soil organic matter. So yes, so that's giving you your soil health, your aggregation, your healthier plants overall.